I don't think that by becoming a transhumanist, you will change this essential part of human nature. People will still be miserable and not pleased at all with life. And even though if we somehow manage to get more knowledge about the brain and how mental disorders are triggered and how to cure them, I still think people will have a very big choice to make whether they want to live or not. And even if they have this unlimited amount of life to live, a lot of people will still kill themselves and go to wars and kill other people as well. This won't change. And at a more superficial view, a lot of people will still get bored and will still lack motivation and ambition and somehow willpower and strength and whatever to do things. Because even now that we are somewhat capable and have a good variety of opportunities, we neglect them and we do follow unwanted paths and we do miss out on opportunities. And it's not because we are highly impaired and because we couldn't make it. We most of the time can, it's just we can't be bothered to. But there will be people who are really keen on living longer, and I think maybe by creating good networks and groups we will try and bring everyone together to see that there is so much in life you can do. Because basically by increasing your amount of life, you will be able to become more things. You won't be restricted to follow the chronological order that everyone has set to you, because there is no limit. I see a lot of problems with transhumanism, and most of these problems and conflicts has to do with human diversity. How will we explain survival? I know it seems a bit cliche, but Darwin has set out this brilliant idea about the survival of the fittest. But who is going to be the fittest in our society now, when everyone is so perfect and capable physically? What are our genes going to be made of? How are we going to inherit them? What are we going to pass from generation to generation when our life is so long? How are we going to explain the different opinions there are between people because of their beliefs? A lot of religious people are really convinced that God has created them how they are, that there hasn't been any evolutionary process where you have developed into something more appropriate for the environment you are set in. So when they believe that God has created them into this physical being, how are they going to accept that transhumanism will change who you are and defy God? How are we going to prioritize transhumanism when we have 2/3 of the world's population dying and suffering from hunger and danger and disease and no way of living, no house, no technology, no water, no treatment, no hospital, no anything? So where should the focus on money actually go? Should we be investing it in the scientific research in nanotechnology, robotics, biology, and engineering, when we are actually trying to be a bit more selfish and surpass our somewhat actually good capacities to become perfect and live longer, when we haven't been able to deal with so many conflicts in the world? So how are we going to be leveling this? Not everyone is going to have the same chance here. There will be social inequality. As much as I would like to see that transhumanism is going to be accepted by everyone at the same time, or somewhat at the same time, and progress while everyone is in accordance, it's not going to happen. Humans aren't going to rise above. Everything is going to be somewhat of a difficult access. How are we going to become transhumanists? How are we going to become physically more capable? Are there going to be hospitals where they just give it to you free? There will be some sort of a time of recovery, and how are we going to recover from all this transformation when it is so sudden? How are we going to deal with the inequality amongst social levels? How are we going to deal with the difference, or indifference actually, amongst individuals when everyone looks the same and acts and behaves the same? What are we going to be fighting from? Where are we going to get our core values when we don't fail anymore? So that's why I think that there has to be somewhat of a limit to transhumanism. We can't take it all the way up. We can't desire it so much that we change exactly everything, all the system in the world, and I won't even bother about it because it's never going to happen. It's like this whole zeitgeist movement. I love thinking that we're going to be all perfect, but I just can't see it. So I'd rather have people focusing on just enhancing our flaws and impairments rather than trying to be superhumans and with superpowers and flying around and swimming under sea for hours and being elastic and just satisfying their science fiction need. So there has to be somewhat of a limit here. We can't really fulfill our egocentric needs when we live in this growing and improving culture with all these opportunities, able to make videos and go onto YouTube and live in a somewhat social educated culture, whilst the rest of the world isn't really like this. Are we still going to live? Are we going to all of a sudden create two worlds? Are we going to extinguish all of these people and then build a new society? Just seems a bit radical to me, and that is really scary actually. It's very scary. But I do think we need change, and there is room for improvement here, but we do need to be careful, really careful, cautious about the limits to this transhumanism stream. And I'm really excited about discussing this, having a good debate conversation. So Nina and I do really enjoy having video responses, in brackets, more than comments. People do need to sort of engage in expressing themselves vocally, because that's the whole point of this channel for us. So please make a video response. And I know there is so much more to say about this actually. There are so many angles to attack here. So I'm quite keen on going on